I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Planning Commission for the City of 29 Palms. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Commissioner Kier?
Here.
Commissioner Garcia?
Here.
Commissioner Pahana?
Here.
Vice Chair Walker?
Here.
Chair Krushat?
Here.
All present?
Announcement. These proceedings may be viewed on demand on the City of 29 Palms website at www.29palms.org. You may also live stream this meeting by going on the city website and clicking on the Meetings Agendas link. Public comments. This is the time for the public to address the Planning Commission on issues within the jurisdiction of the Commission that are not on this agenda. All comments are directed to the Chair of the Commission and shall not consist of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain a professional, courteous decorum during their comments. There is a time limitation of 3 minutes per person. If you haven't already done so, please fill out name and address slips and give them to the Planning Commission Secretary. The Planning Commission is prohibited by the Brown Act, state law, from taking action or discussing at length items not included on the printed agenda. Public comments on specific agenda items will be deferred until consideration of the item on the agenda. And the first slip I have is from Gretchen Grunt.
Hello. The general plan vision as stated on the City of 29 Palms website, quote, "The City of 29 Palms seeks to create and promote the economic and social well-being of its residents while maintaining a relaxed atmosphere and clean air quality, as well as simultaneously creating a stronger and more diversified economy through attracting arts and tourism development, health, retirement, recreational, and clean, non-polluting industries. These goals should be guided by two principles, sustainability and adaptability. This requires that existing needs be met without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs, and that to the degree reasonably possible as determined by the appropriate approval authority. Community activities should adapt to the natural environment rather than the natural environment being changed or adapted to these activities. In addition, the city will encourage high-quality development compatible with the missions of the Joshua Tree National Park and the Marine Corps Air Ground Combat Center," unquote. In this moment, many shifts are occurring in our community on many levels. Every aspect of our lives are interconnected, no matter who we are and what our economic and political standings are in this community. For many, our housing crisis is top concern because without a solid home base, lives quickly crumble. The short-term rental STR industry moved into our community, and we've witnessed friends and vulnerable families lose their homes due to a lack of affordable housing. Now the Planning Commission wants to propose passing a city ordinance to encourage glamping. I live in a neighborhood where our homes are on 2, 5, or 10-acre parcels, and we're horrified of what the proposed glamping ordinance would do to our sensitive wildlife corridor and our social well-being. Fortunately, I live in a neighborhood of kind, supportive individuals who have become like family members, but already 20% of the homes in our neighborhood are STRs, creating dead zones where we have little to no interaction with the individuals who own these STR properties. This saddens our family-oriented neighborhood. We'd be further disappointed by legalizing glamping, as environmental and social issues would outweigh the economic benefits. Please consider the value of our intact community. protecting the wildlife and living in a kind, supportive community of individuals who care about each other. This attitude inspires tourists to return over and over. Our connection to each other is our strongest asset, and it'll stay that way if we grow intelligently. A great example of how to grow intelligently is to research other desert cities, like Taos, New Mexico. Taos has many decades of experience with rapid tourism growth. They demonstrate valuable knowledge for our community that we could adopt, like how they manage their STRs. Thank you for your dedication and service.
Thank you, Ms. Grant. The next one is Dana, and I get this right, is it Longhaven?
Close.
Okay. What is it?
Dana Longevin.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dana Longevin, and I'm a local business owner and resident of Indian Cove since 2016. I wanted to speak tonight on the proposed Yonder of Land Resort in Indian Cove. Even though the project is only at the pre-application stage, we understand that in addition to running ads in the local paper, the developers are lobbying city officials. So I want to make sure my voice is heard. As a resident of this beautiful neighborhood, I am deeply disturbed by the significant increase of traffic and noise this project will bring to the environmentally sensitive area. Developers are nipping at every high desert town looking to rezone rural parcels into commercial resorts when there are plenty of commercial lots to utilize. Just as people move to the East Village in New York for the vibrant culture, people move to the Indian Cove neighborhood for a peaceful, nature-centric side of the desert. We do not need a bustling resort next to a quiet neighborhood when we already sit adjacent to a large, busy campground. Our neighborhood is comprised of approximately 300 homes plus 101 campsites up the road, which, despite the campground being 2 miles away, still creates a notable amount of traffic and noise. People race up the road with no care for the local wildlife crossing the road or residents walking their dogs. The Yonder Resort intends to pave Lear on the south side of 62, potentially adding a new noisy thoroughfare through the neighborhood. The Yonder Resort is planned to have 130 dwellings with 4-person capacity each, 2 large lodges, a 12,000 square foot seasonal employee living quarters, plus pools and entertainment areas, adding close to 400 extra people to our neighborhood. In contrast, the parcel that's in escrow is planned for 60 residential dwellings. Therefore, the Yonder Resort is disproportionately large for the intended area. Besides the traffic noise this resort will create, Yonder will have an outside movie theater streaming sound to guest-supplied speakers in the possible hundreds. In a place where I can hear a neighbor sneeze from almost a block away, sounds like our average noise level will be raised quite significantly. I don't believe building this resort in a rural zone neighborhood in a wildlife corridor so close to the park boundary where we already have enough tourist traffic is the best place. This project will set precedent and open the door to rezoning for developers across the high desert. I think this is a good project for a commercially zoned area, not a residential one. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Susan Teplow.
Good evening, everyone. I don't have anything written prepared, but I did want to take this opportunity in light of the item on the agenda for the vacation of easement. It has me thinking regarding our expectations that we're setting with these developers and their commitment to 29 Palms. Case in point, this developer is using a Joshua Tree address in a 29 Palms area. So although I have spoken to staff about this and was kind of, the response was more, we cannot be in charge of how people advertise within 29 Palms. That might be true, but who sets the expectations? I mean, as we try to grow our own destination, we have, Freedom Plaza, between PAC and the city and TBID, we have $350,000 coming towards events. We have opportunity to showcase everything that's happening within the city. So at some point, I think this developer stay hotel, wherever it is, deserves the conversation, but who's in charge of the conversation? Like, I think they deserve the conversation in the sense, or at least the courtesy to say, that's frowned upon. If you are building and committing to build a project in the city of 29 Palms, then you better have some pride. Because if you're that excited about having a Joshua Tree Trust, there's a lot of land in Joshua Tree. So for the Planning Commission and the staff of the city, personally, I find it your responsibility to set these expectations with these developers and make it clear that you, if you are going to have a CUP within the city, to be proud, proudful and prideful of that, and showcase how we can do that and foster that relationship. Not necessarily chew them out like my voice is, but, give them opportunity. So that was my comment. I wish I had it written. Thanks.
Thank you. Next we have, is it Yareen? I'm trying to read, Eskandor? Thank you.
Hello. I wasn't going to type this, but I quickly did. In the last planning meeting, the committee proceeded to consider a proposal by Hip Camp for adjusting the city's zoning. This is a conflict of interest because it is a dream scenario for Hip Camp and companies like theirs to affect local legislation and zoning that solely benefits them. Hip Camp is a VC-backed startup whose primary goal is growth for growth's sake, to increase the wealth of their VC backers with no regard for the communities they are operating in. I asked the Planning Commission to consider independent researchers and the local community in lieu of a startup. We've already seen what SDRs have done to the fabric of the community, and glamping is a granular version of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else who would like to address the commission? Please come up, sir. Make sure you have a... And your name is?
My name is Ashton Ramsey, and Ben here is part of the project, Reset, and I'm in full support. I think that what they're doing is very exciting. I think getting rid of the easement, I'm in full support of.
Excuse me, is this dealing with an agenda item?
Yes.
Or- Well, okay, well then, can we wait till the...
Oh, I thought that's what this was for.
No, this was a public comments.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, though, why don't you go ahead and, because you started.
Yeah.
And we'll let you finish.
So the easement, I thought, it's not needed. It makes sense. It seems pretty obvious that we should, help them be as successful as possible in town, and with their projects. So I was coming in support of that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other public comments for an item that's not on the agenda? Okay, thank you. Then I close public comments. Oh, okay. And I will go to commission comments and reports of meetings attended. We'll start at this end. Ms. Cure?
Thank you for asking. I haven't attended any meetings, but I did want to say thank you to Shelley for setting up to attend the Planning Commission Academy.
Good.
I attended the, I guess, mayor's hangout. It was at Fans this time. He's going to be hopping around to different locations in the city, and I highly recommend everybody to come out. It's a less formal way of making a public comment, and you get to speak directly to him. So I thought that was a really neat venue. You get to try some new food and stuff. So it's well put on event by the city. And I too would like to thank Shelley for all her hard work with the Planning Academy.
All right, thank you. Matt?
I too went to the mayor's social. It was a good time. It was a lot of fun. I do encourage people to go. It's nice to get to meet the mayor and talk to other officials. And then I attended the last city council meeting, and that was it. So thank you, Shelley, for the Planning Academy stuff.
Okay. That'll be 3 that you've gone to now, right? Yeah, okay.
I attended the last TBID meeting, a DBA meeting, and a meeting with the Black Cactus in town. Other than that, that's it.
Okay. I attended the board meeting for the Historical Society, and I would like to add that if anybody wants to learn the history of our town, I thoroughly encourage you to join the Historical Society, visit our museum, and get involved. We've got a great archive library, and we've got a lot of events coming up. I'm looking forward to the Desert Rats celebration that we'll have in May. Got a lot of activities planned, so keep that on your calendar. I think it's going to be around May 6th, but they haven't closed it in. Thank you. Now to the consent calendar, the approval of the Planning Commission meeting minutes from January 16th. I hope everybody had a chance to read through the minutes.
I
Does
motion
anybody-
we approve the minutes as written.
Pardon?
I motion we approve the minutes as written.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second that.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Cure,
Aye.
Commissioner Garcia,
Aye.
Commissioner Pahana,
Aye.
Vice Chair Walker,
Aye.
Chair Krushat,
Aye.
approved.
And we have no items removed from the consent calendar for discussion. We'll move on to public hearings. The vacation of the Foothill Drive and between Bullion and Split Rock. And I will turn it over to staff at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you mentioned, this particular case is the vacation of a road dedication, which is located right here in red. For more reference, the casino is located down here. This is 29 Palms Highway, and Adobe Road is right here. So just for some overall reference. What you're seeing here is an exhibit showing ownership. What you're seeing here, this request is what is now the Reset Hotel. What you're showing here in yellow are the contiguous ownership of that particular LLC. So they own all of the area here in yellow. For reference, Animal Control is located here in blue. Public Works is located here in green. I have spoken to both of the directors of those departments. They don't have any particular issue with Foothill being vacated from here to here. Speaking with the city engineer, he also has no objection to this area being vacated. It does not serve anyone else but this particular landowner. It is not located on, it is not listed on the general plan as a major thoroughfare of any way, shape, or form. So the city engineer does not object. So we recommend that the vacation of Foothill Drive between Bullion and Split Rock complies with the general plan and associated policies, which is number 2. We recommend that you recommend to the city council approval of the vacation of Foothill Drive between Bullion and Split Rock Avenue. Adopt the resolution and find the project exempt from CEQA. Whatever recommendation the Planning Commission has will go to the City Council for final action.
Thank you. Do I have any questions from the commission for staff?
You mentioned it's undeveloped, only used like in this plot, right? It's not like Foothill from Adobe, like you can't turn on Adobe into Foothill and drive across, and it's not a fire lane or anything like this.
Right, so if you...
It's undeveloped.
It was formerly developed, put it that way, and it's been deteriorating in condition. It is passable by car, but just barely.
Yeah.
So, and if you were to look at, if you were to look at I've got the zoning map up. If you were to look at the road dedications, here's Foothill right here, which is now Foothill. There's no other Foothill legal dedication to the east, or there's a tiny little bit of one to the west. It has been graded off and on, but not in a very good condition.
Thank you.
So with this vacation, they would take on the responsibility of that road, and it's, yeah. And I think that, doesn't it go circular around the initial?
Right, so
Yeah.
the Reset Hotel was conditioned
Right.
very explicitly in the conditions of approval to improve Bullion, Bowling, and Split Rock, which is the perimeter of the areas that which they are developing. And those streets will not be affected by the street vacation.
Okay. Thank you. Any more questions for staff from the commission?
I have one
Before-
more question. It's basically absorbed into the property is what the vacationing means. It's not like vacationing it from your map view and I have to still make it a road. It means that it's now incorporated. I could put whatever I wanted or build upon.
Right, so whenever you have a road vacation of any kind,
Yeah.
whether it's Foothill or whatever it happens to be, it would revert back to the adjacent property owners. It would split half and half, but in this case, Reset owns both halves across the
Mhm.
street, so it would resort to
Whatever.
ownership.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, if there's no more questions from the commission, what I'd like to do is open it up to public comment. You? Okay. And the first one I have is Ashton Ramsey. Oh, Ashton already spoke. All right, thank you. You already spoke. That's right. Do I have any other comments? Pardon? Oh. Well, I'll do the letter last. Yeah, and then you can fill it out, Vino.
Thank you, Chairman. Keith, can you please put that map back on the first map that you put on? So all the land that's yellow is owned by the same LLC? Yes. That's fine. I mean, it's okay. It's going to them. They own everything. Nobody else have. I'm in favor of the project. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Vino. Do I have any comments from anybody in the gallery that would like to comment on this project? All right, then the other thing I have is, and I'm going to say that I received this letter from someone with expertise who asked to be anonymous. Normally, I don't think we should be reading. I think you should be putting your name behind. If you have a statement to make, you would. However, I'm going to go ahead and read what was sent. The Planning Commission should not recommend City Council approval on the vacation of the Foothill Drive right-of-way between Bullion Avenue and Split Rock Avenue. A recommendation for approval would not be compliant with the general plan, the development code, or the applicant's previously approved CUP for the adjacent property. The conditions of approval for the project, approved by the Planning Commission November 2nd, 2021, requires that the applicant improve Foothill Drive to the city's half-width local street standard. The required improvements are per the city's general plan and development code, condition number E3, recommended by the city engineer, approved by the Planning Commission on November 2nd, 2021. All streets abutting the development shall be improved at a minimum half-street width of 26 feet with curb, gutter, and sidewalk on the development side. Condition number E3 applies to Foothill Drive. Vacating the Foothill Drive right-of-way violates the general plan, development code, and the conditions of approval for the applicant's project. An environmental review has conducted, or was conducted for the November 2nd, 2021 CUP conditional use permit approval. Staff recommended that the Planning Commission approved a mitigated negative declaration. The November 2nd, 2021 CEQA environmental checklist form states, Phase 2 will also include street improvements, which will complete the half-widths of all streets surrounding the project. This means the environmental analysis includes development of Foothill as part of the project. Information provided for tonight's agenda item indicates that the previous environmental review leading to the November 2nd, 2021 Planning Commission adoption of the mitigated negative declaration is adequate for the vacation of the right-of-way. However, according to the MND, the project includes improvement of all adjacent streets, including Foothill Drive. The previous CEQA analysis makes no reference to vacation of Foothill Drive. To the contrary, it affirms that Foothill Drive will be improved by the applicant, the same applicant that seeks vacation of the right-of-way and therefore vacation of one of the CUP conditions of approval. Importantly, if you look at the neighborhood level, you see vast amounts of underdeveloped property. As development is proposed, Foothill could provide vital connectivity to adjacent and nearby properties. Instead, the city is diminishing any possible future by stating Foothill Drive does not physically exist at that location and does not serve any residences or business. The staff report ignores the future needs of future residences and businesses that may require the right-of-way to facilitate east-west movement. Development of the adjacent property will rely on effective circulation. Abandonment of this right-of-way creates unnecessary roadblocks for future development. And for what? Nothing in the staff report details any benefit to the city or its residents. It simply deems the roadway unneeded, even though the city engineer recommended and the planning commission has approved a requirement for its development to city standards. The resolution states that the commissioners affirm that they have reviewed relevant CEQA documents. It's important that commissioners understand environmental law in this case, and it's also important that the city gave careful consideration before relinquishing the right-of-way that will be needed to orderly development. Okay. And I'm going to bring it back to staff and the commission. Would you like to respond to that comment?
No?
Okay. I don't feel the area, I think when you've got two areas that's owned and we've got that small road area, I think the two areas should be joined. But does anybody have any other comments or questions?
I did want to make a mention that the applicant and the
Oh, okay.
and the engineer's applicant, yeah, the applicant's engineer is also here, so.
Okay, I'd love, would the applicant's engineer like to come forward and make a comment or discuss or respond?
Sure.
Okay.
Vicki Bridenstine, MD5. We did initially talk about doing a phase 2 for this project, and Foothill was tied to phase 2.
Mhm.
The applicant has deemed that they are no longer planning on doing phase 2. They've told the city staff that they're relinquishing all rights to phase 2, so therefore they don't need the right-of-way. We did do a traffic count just to see if that road was being used currently, and I believe there was one car during the time that we had the strip out there for a 1-week period, I believe it was. So it's our opinion that no one was using it. There is still an access if you go north on Bullion, east on Bowling, and then south on Split Rock to get to a future Foothill right-of-way.
Mhm.
So the applicant would prefer that this right-of-way not be through the middle of his project, just as Hastings Drive was also vacated. So that's where they're coming from.
So the applicant is going to abandon phase 2, but they want the vacation of the right-of-way, so just to connect the two properties.
Correct.
Okay.
Will it become one parcel?
I don't know if they're going to go through the process of doing a parcel merger. It's additional money that they would have to do, but they currently have no plans to develop anything to the south of existing. They want to maintain the views.
Oh, they want to maintain the view? Okay. Okay. Any other questions from commission to staff? Any comments? Then do I have a motion?
Can you pull up your long list, Keith, please?
You could just say move staff's recommendation.
Yeah.
I may make a motion, we approve staff's recommendation.
I second. I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Kier,
Aye.
Commissioner Garcia,
Aye.
Commissioner Pahana,
Aye.
Vice Chair Walker,
Aye.
Chair Krushat,
Aye.
5-0 approved.
Yeah. Okay, we move on to discussion and potential action items. You know, I see none listed. Okay, then we'll move to the Community Development Director updates.
As it was mentioned by 4 of you, 4 of you will be attending the Planning Commission agenda, or Planning Commission Academy, which begins the morning of March the 6th. It starts very early, so the March the 5th Planning Commission, we're going to be canceling because we won't have a quorum. So all the items that we were intending to put on that day, we're intending to put on the next one, which would be March the 19th. And I know we have a member of the Housing and Homeless Committee here, so March the 19th will be the Homeless Committee. Okay?
All right,
That's
thank
the
you.
only thing I got.
Okay, then, we have no study session? So, I adjourn this meeting.